The Python's Bride. Part 4. The Oracle. A wise old man with deep knowing eyes, sighed heavily after completing his incantation. He settled into his carved wooden seat, gazing into the flickering fire at the center of the shrine. The flames cast eerie shadows on the walls, making the place feel even more mysterious. Ojo and Ada sat on a mat before the oracle, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They had heard bits and pieces of this story before, but never in full detail, and never from the oracle himself. The oracle began to speak, his voice low and filled with the weight of the past. Many years ago, the people of Ukana were blessed by the gods. The land was rich, the crops grew abundantly, and the people lived in peace. But there was one piece of land that the gods warned them to stay away from, a fertile plot that lay between Ukana and the nearby community of Okoji. The gods had given it to the people of Okoji, and they warned Ukana never to desire it. Ada and Ojo exchanged nervous glances, feeling the tension in the story. But the people of Ukana, led by their king and elders, saw the richness of the land and could not resist it. They were stronger than the people of Okoji and believed they could take the land by force. Despite the gods' warnings, they went to war against Okoji. They fought hard and won, taking the land for themselves. The oracle's voice grew softer, filled with sorrow. But the victory brought no joy. As the people of Okoji were driven from their land, they swore a terrible curse on Ukana. They sacrificed their princess, their most beloved, to seal this curse. Her blood stained the earth, and soon after, a terrible plague spread through Ukana. People fell sick, crops withered, and the land turned barren. Ojo and Ada listened closely, their hearts heavy with the seriousness of the story. The king and elders, realizing the gravity of their mistake, cried out to the gods for help. They offered sacrifices and pleaded for mercy, but the gods remained silent. "You were warned," the gods whispered. "You did not listen." The oracle paused, his voice thick with regret. The people of Ukana continued to beg the gods for help, and finally, the gods responded. "Return the land to Okoji," they said, "and the curse will be lifted." Ada, her voice barely above a whisper, asked, "Did they return the land?" The oracle shook his head sadly. "No." The king, too proud and stubborn, refused to give up what they had fought so hard to gain. Instead, he sought out Ojadili, a powerful and feared warrior spirit who lived deep in the forbidden forest. Ojadili promised to stop the plague, but he demanded a heavy price, a princess, just as the people of Okoji had sacrificed. The king had no daughter, so he made a terrible promise to Ojadili: "Any female child born in my family, even in future generations, belongs to you." Ojo and Ada gasped, understanding the weight of this promise. The gods were deeply pained by the king's decision to lead his people down the wrong path, ignoring their warnings. They refused to give the royal family a princess for many generations. It has now been 4 generations, and still, no female child has been born into the royal family. King Uzi's father, desperate for a daughter, sought the gods' blessing. The gods sent a prophecy, saying, "A lamb will only come when the lamb's savior is born." When the princess meets her savior, they will join hands to restore peace between the royal family and the gods. But to do this, the land must be returned to Okoji, and sacrifices must be made to cleanse the land of Ukana, and also a sacrifice to appease Ojadili. The oracle paused and then added, "And it came to pass in the time of your father. The gods sent a princess, which is you, Princess Ojo, as the first fruit of King Uzi. We were all worried about the lamb's savior. We didn't know who she was, just as the gods said before you were born." Ojo and Ada looked at each other weakly, the weight of the prophecy heavy on their hearts. They knew that the future of Ukana depended on them, and the path ahead would not be easy. The oracle looked at them, his eyes filled with both hope and sorrow. "This is the only way to escape your destiny, my princess. Can this be done before 7 market days?" "Not at all," the oracle said, "because we will need to find the people of the Okoji community, apologize to them, and also return the land to them. But if they refuse to accept our apology, Then I'm afraid we will have to let you go with Ojadili, or we will suffer again. Where can we find them? Ada asked. They fled years ago to a place unknown, the oracle responded. But the gods will lead us if we agree to follow their guidance. Suddenly, the princess stood up angrily and ran out of the shrine. Ada quickly thanked the oracle before rushing after her. Princess Ojo ran as fast as she could, her heart pounding in rhythm with her frantic footsteps. The moonlight filtered through the thick canopy of trees, casting long, airy shadows on the forest floor. Her mind raced, consumed by the weight of her destiny and the oracle's ominous words. The people of Okoji may reject our apology, and if they do, you will have to marry Ojadili, or our suffering will begin anew. The thought of being sacrificed to Ojadili, an ancient monster bound by a promise her forefather foolishly made, was too much to bear. Anger and confusion swelled within her. Ada, struggling to keep up, called after her. Princess Ojo, wait! But Ojo didn't slow down. She darted through the village path, her feet barely touching the ground as she weaved between trees and bushes. She didn't know where she was going, only that she needed to be alone to cry. Finally, she reached a small clearing by the village river. The gentle sound of water flowing over rocks was the only noise in the stillness of the night. Exhausted, Ojo collapsed onto the grass, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Ada caught up with her moments later, panting heavily. Ojo, Ada said softly, kneeling beside her. Ojo buried her face in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. How can I do this, Ada? What kind of fate is this? Why me? Did you hear what the oracle said? If the people of Okoji reject our apology, I must go to be with Ojadili in the forest as his bride. How can I give myself up to that monster? My whole life, I've known I was different, but I never imagined this would be my destiny. Ada wrapped her arms around Ojo, holding her close. I don't know what to say, but I do know one thing. We're in this together. We'll find a way, Ojo. You will never have to marry Ojadili, not with the gods on our side. Ojo looked at her. Yes, Ada said again, more firmly. The gods are with us. Didn't you hear the oracle? A prophecy was made before we were born. If I went here to help you, the gods would never have let you be born a princess. They are wise. Ojo hugged her friend, her tears still flowing. As the two girls sat by the river, the forest around them seemed to hold its breath, listening to their conversation. Watch out for part 5.